Ever since my son Leo was born, my parents had been overly critical of him. It wasn't outright cruelty, but the kind of subtle, dismissive judgment that made it clear they didn't approve of who he was. Leo was a quiet, artistic kid. He preferred reading books and drawing over roughhousing or playing sports, and for some reason, that never sat well with my parents. My father, a traditional, old-school type, often made comments like, "Boys should be tough, not sitting around with crayons," whenever he saw Leo sketching in his notebook. My mother, though a bit softer, wasn't much better. She would constantly compare him to my brother's sons, who were loud, energetic, and constantly covered in dirt from playing football outside. I tolerated it for years, mostly for the sake of keeping the peace. I figured as long as Leo had my support, he wouldn't pay much attention to their remarks. But as he grew older, it became harder to ignore. The way my father sighed whenever Leo chose to stay inside with his books instead of tossing a ball outside. The way my mother looked at him with mild disappointment when he showed her a new drawing instead of a sports trophy, it all started adding up. Still, I bit my tongue, choosing my battles carefully, never wanting to fully confront them. Everything changed when Leo turned 10. He had recently discovered a love for theater, something that made him light up in a way I had never seen before. When he found out his school was putting on a play, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, he begged me to let him audition. I encouraged him wholeheartedly, and to his delight, he landed a major role. Every day after school, he practiced his lines, perfecting his expressions, and even sketching designs for his costume. He was proud of himself, and I was proud of him too. When the night of the play arrived, my parents reluctantly agreed to come. I should have been happy about that, but deep down, I felt uneasy. I knew them too well. I knew their reactions were unpredictable. And worst of all, I knew Leo cared about their approval more than he admitted. He wanted them to be proud of him, even if he didn't say it out loud. As the auditorium lights dimmed and the play began, I found myself glancing at my parents instead of the stage. For the most part, they remained quiet. But the moment Leo stepped onto the stage in his elaborate medieval-style costume, I saw it. The smirk on my dad's face, the way he nudged my mother. Then, a chuckle. My mother whispered something to him, and they both stifled their laughter. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to focus on Leo, who was delivering his lines with so much passion and excitement. When the play ended, the children rushed out to greet their families. Leo ran toward us, his eyes bright with pride, his cheeks still flushed from the stage lights. Before I could open my mouth to tell him how amazing he was, my father clapped a hand on his shoulder and said, "Well, that was something. Didn't know we had a little Shakespeare in the family?" His voice was laced with amusement, not praise. My mother, smirking, added, "You looked so cute up there, like a little doll." I saw it happen in real time. The pride in Leo's eyes flickered, dimmed, and then disappeared completely. His smile faltered, his shoulders slumped. He looked up at me, searching for reassurance, for something to counteract what had just been said. But the damage was already done. That was it. I turned to my parents, my voice steady but firm. "You know, I've spent years tolerating your judgment. I let you criticize me. I let you undermine my choices. But I will not let you do this to my son." My father blinked, surprised at my tone. My mother shifted uncomfortably. "Leo is talented, creative, and passionate. And if you can't respect him, then you don't deserve to be in his life," I continued, keeping my voice calm but unwavering. My father scoffed. "Oh, come on, we were just joking." "No," I said sharply. "You weren't. You were mocking your own grandson. And for what? Because he's different from what you expect? Because he isn't some rough, tough, sports-loving kid? I won't let you belittle him. Not anymore." Leo looked up at me, his expression shifting from sadness to something else, relief. I didn't wait for my parents to argue. I took Leo's hand and walked away. That night, I made it clear to them. They were no longer welcome in our lives unless they truly changed. They tried to argue at first, calling me dramatic, insisting I was overreacting. But I didn't back down. Weeks passed without a word from them. I thought maybe that was the end of it, that they would choose their pride over a relationship with their grandson. Then, one evening, my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice was quieter than usual, hesitant. "We didn't realize how much we hurt him," she admitted. "Can we try again?" I made it clear. If they wanted to be in Leo's life, they had to respect him. No more snide remarks, no more judgment. It took time, but eventually they changed. The next time Leo performed in a play, they were there. No laughter, no eye rolls, just applause. Leo never forgot what happened, but he also learned something valuable. He learned that he deserved respect, and that I would always stand up for him. And my parents? They learned that some jokes come with real consequences.